Hello, everyone who's probably not here yet. I just wanted to come on a little early and make sure that I actually knew how to even start this thing. So I'm just going to sit here and drink my tea. I wonder if I can I share my screen? I don't think I can. Hey, Ed from Baltimore. This is sort of different. It's a little easier to handle from a noise and managing it, but it's weird not to be able to hear people's voices. So we'll have to see how this chat feature goes. Welcome, welcome. Jason Jones, hello. Oh, how are you guys doing after our chat the other day? Did give you a few things to chew on and maybe narrow down some of the things that you're going to be doing? Mark, hi, Mark. Well, I think I'm just going to go ahead. Do you guys have any hello prayer for 543? That's a lot of prayers. You must say a lot of prayers. Well, you can add 544, say one for me. Anyway, it's, I'm not even sure. It's so awkward, kind of. Like, where do I look? In the last few years, you guys know from just the last couple of weeks of me sending out things that, I've been doing a lot of changes and a lot of clearing out and stabilizing and strengthening and clarifying and sort of wanting to emerge in a different way. And although it was highly unpleasant in many aspects, as I think a lot of us could relate to over the last few years in particular, I really wouldn't trade any of it. During one of my darkest night of the soul periods, the way it manifested, my irrational fears and whatever else, all the dark shadows that you're not even sure are there. Well, sometimes they come roaring up and your body is the first place that they show up. Well, I had the worst issue with one of my wisdom teeth and went from abscess or something under there to it built up so much pressure. It eventually just exploded through my jawbone. They'd actually never seen, they took the MRI finally or whatever. Had never seen such a thing. So there was so much pressure where nothing really else matters when you're in that much pain. And, you almost wonder, well, maybe it's my time. I think I've managed my estate. Could have done a little better. There's going to be a few messes for my kids to clean up, but I was like ready to go, bye-bye. But in a way, it's really beautiful when we have all the messages, including from our body, giving us little hints about where we should be going. And even starting back up to talk and host discussions and teach, and actually been doing a fair amount of consulting in the last few weeks and months. and along with managing our existing portfolio of notes and properties. There's just a whole lot. I forgot what I was going to say. A whole lot more, a variety of things that interest me. And I'm not really sure where I'm going with everything, how my new Note Queen 2.0 will look. I'm just starting to discuss a major refresh and overhaul with, some professional that can help guide me. I mean, I think my website is very old and outdated, like me. So don't we all just keep getting older? Okay, so we have Ed, Mark, Jason, prayer, Jason doing well. Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, Jojo. Hello from California. Dave, getting back in the saddle. That is right. Anyway, I don't know if you guys had a chance. I guess I can't screen share with a live stream, but I'm wondering if you guys had a chance to, like, whoever's here, what are you interested in talking about? Because I did send out a link to a prepper page that I made, and I guess I can go over that really quick. Good morning, Sharon from Florida. Terry, wonderful to see you on here. I've had a really great couple of chats with you over the last few weeks. If you didn't get over, I did create let me see if I can put this link in here. That'll be a good to do. This is the link to the preparedness page, and it's just kind of a start, and then I'll probably add to it. And if you have any ideas on prep that I haven't put here, feel free to let me know in chat or email. How would I start? Because I grew up LDS or Mormon, it was just in our DNA to be preppers, because we are always counseled to have a 2 years supply of food and other basic necessities. That's just pretty aggressive. So I remember my mom and my grandparents. I mean, the garage was lined with cans of wheat that would last 25 years or something like that. We had water storage everywhere, canned goods. My mom always canned things, peaches, pickles, tomatoes, other things. And so I've just always been on that for one reason or the other. And then I guess I still haven't stopped, but I feel like I've sort of arrived at a certain point, and you can get kind of crazy with prepper. And I don't really want my whole mentality to be, I'm just always scared of some doomsday thing. I just want to say, I'm seeing the writing on the wall. I'm getting the sniff in the wind of potential things that could be coming down the pipeline. And even if I'm wrong about, and I hope I am, obviously I hope there aren't things that are very disruptive to normal people's lives, but we see that that's happening every day, sadly, like the huge things in Lahaina, in Maui. But even as simple as, I remember living back in Southern California in a nice, tidy little suburbia that doesn't get extreme anything except for a few earthquakes here and there. But I remember we had a very strange random windstorm that took out power just in our city, right in the middle of the concrete jungle, just in our city. 30-mile-an-hour winds that took down power for us 3 days and other people in the city 5 days. Now, I could drive a couple of miles to go get gasoline in the neighboring city, but we had no power, we had no water, we couldn't have gassed up in our city. So anyway, these are just things that I just go, you know what, a little bit of preparedness goes a long way, because if you just focus a little bit now on things that are reasonable backups, you're going to have a lot less stress later. Like we're just, this pandemic season that we had in the last 3 years, remember the times where you couldn't get toilet paper, and then there were people just pulling their hair out and distraught because they couldn't get baby formula. I had stuff on back order because of supply chain issues that it just made me realize, okay, I can't count on that I can just push a button and get everything I need, or go to the store and everything's going to be there. If we live in the city, especially, we get kind of soft and we just sort of expect that things will always be there. And it's sort of like a Disneyland ride, and we have little safety rails, and everyone will make sure that we're okay. And if there is a real emergency, the emergency services are going to be completely overwhelmed. And you need to be able to do a little bit, don't get crazy, and you don't spend more money than you have. But, a few little things like water, extra food, any critical medicines, pet food. And I've focused a lot on how I can take my health in my own hands, because I never, ever, my goal is, even being a registered nurse, my father, my grandfather came from a line of doctors. My mom was a nurse. I was a nurse. My big thing is keep everyone out of the hospital and the Western medical system. I think they're wonderful if you get in an accident and you need to be patched up, certain acute events like that. But otherwise, I'm thinking, how can I keep me and my family healthy and out of the Western medical system as much as possible? So anyway, a few more people have come in. Getting back, sharing more. Don, nope, business. Did that link that I sent? Yeah, it came through. Oh, thank you, V. You love this channel. Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You are so right. So for me, I was like, everyone's like, well, I don't prep because I don't want to, feed into that negativity. And whatever we focus on, a lot of times what we fear, we inadvertently create. So there's a balance to all things. But what I do is take inspired action. If I feel like there's something I need to be doing, I do it. And then I relax, because I've done everything I felt guided to do. And now I just go about and live my life. And if the unexpected happens, or even the power goes out for one day, like we had, during the winter, it was on New Year's Eve, and it was the most beautiful snowing, quiet, delightful night, but we had no power. And, when luckily we weren't below freezing, we were right at that 30, 31 degrees. Otherwise, I would have been scrambling to get the generator going. And I have about 3 different outbuildings on this premises that I would have been in a lot of trouble. So I really amped up my different ways besides a generator. How could I keep rooms and houses and piping from freezing in several different outbuildings, including my greenhouse, which I keep warm enough even during the winter to grow a few things that are winter hardy. But anyway, once you do the things that you feel like you should do, then you relax. How stressful would it be if something happens and you have no gas in your car, you have no food on the shelf, you have no extra water, and it's not coming out the faucet, and it's one thing if it's just you, but I always think I have my tribe. I have a whole village that I'm trying to make sure they're okay. So I would highly suggest that you position yourself like every day for a week. Make a note of, how often do I go to the store? How often do I buy stuff on Amazon? And go, okay, what if I buy enough of those things that you do day in and day out, so that you have 1 month where if you could not get money out of the bank, and you could not go to the store, and you could not order online, make sure you guys are set. A little bit goes a long way. Oh, Clarissa, hola, welcome, bienvenido. Thank you. Crypto. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if this is being recorded actually. I would guess it is automatically being recorded, but yeah, thanks for showing up, Tiana. So really quick, I'm going to go over the prep stuff and get that out of the way. And then we're going to talk about some other things. So on food, on this link, I have My Patriot Supply. I wouldn't want to have to live on this very long, but for a reasonable price, I think, gosh, I have quite a bit of that. Now, if you have a little bit higher price point that you can spend and you really want some really excellent high-end, gorgeous fruit and vegetables and meat and dairy, go to Thrive Life. I've stocked up on several of their things because I'm not going to want to be eating salty, dehydrated food for very long. Now, I've invested in, and there's many versions of this, in an indoor tower garden. It's a vertical garden, automatically has grow lights and watering system, and it's on autopilot practically. Just have to keep the water above the pump. And I have Insta salad anytime, day or night, summer, spring, winter, fall. And that has been absolutely wonderful. Just as simple as if you have a mason jar and a screen on the end, you can learn to sprout and have amazing, healthy, green, super nutritious food at all times right on your kitchen counter. Or if you even just have an apartment patio, look for a way that you buy some seeds. Act like seeds could be another form of currency. So you can't store them forever sometimes, but I store them in the dark and in my refrigerator. But seeds could be like money, because all the things that we can talk about, if you don't have your health and you can't eat, nothing else matters. You can't eat a dollar. You can't eat a note. You can't eat a Bitcoin. You can't eat a silver coin. So basic, making sure that your health and your access to resources that you need is intact is super important. So buy seeds, like they're another form of diversifying. Plant a garden. Wild foraging, I really got excited about this. So I have spent just as much time learning about and cultivating like weeds that normal people would try to get out of their lawn and out of their yard. There's certain ones like plantain. It's an amazing healing herb. It's not so great for just chewing on, but plantain, that is a common weed that people try to get rid of. Well, it's actually extremely medicinal, very powerful. And now I've been able to cultivate 2 different strains by seeing where they are, noticing in them, and then making sure the lawnmower guys don't go over them. Purslane is absolutely divine. It tastes delicious. It's lemony. It's kind of like got an okra sort of oily omega-3 thing. Super nutritious, super delicious, and it's just weeds that grow up automatically. And of course, I've cultivated and protected certain zones, but I made a healing salve out of my plantain, out of my comfrey, added a little bit of lavender oil, myrrh, essential oils. And I made a thing. I was so proud of myself. First time I ever did anything like this. And I gave it out as Christmas gifts. It's a healing salve. And it's so good for anything: bites, stings, cuts, scrapes, burns, anything. My whole family uses it as the first go-to for any first aid kind of thing. So I think it's important to learn about what's already around you that you could just forage. And when I'm putting together a salad, yes, I get some stuff from my tower garden, but I also go out and I wild forage the edible things that I know are just growing right around me. So I have a super nutritious salad I can put together. I invested in a food dehydrator. So, when the apricots are on and the blueberries are on, and we have zucchini coming out of our ears right now, but that we can put them, we can dehydrate them and save them for later. I'm trying to get up to speed on how to can and how to freeze food properly. I like having bulk nuts and seeds because I can keep some in the fridge and also the freezer. And I love soaked almonds, so there's a lot of things that I could be okay for a really long time not going to the store. Bulk grains, lentils, beans, the certain staples. I always do organic, non-GMO, and I can even, I know sometimes it really doesn't mean anything. Let me switch back over here if there's any questions. Okay, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'm just going to keep running along. Water filtration, you should have a gallon per day per person. So if you're alone, a gallon per day would be what, 30 gallons, and that's pretty minimal. That's just to keep you alive. But if you have a family of 5, you might want to have, I don't know, 150 gallons, something like that, stored up. You can Google all these things. I have hydrogen peroxide and Clorox for purification purposes. I also invested in a water distiller so that I can make clean distilled water. No matter what comes in, it evaporates. Because I'm on well water where I am, and even city water, I'd probably still do this. But for me, I have the ability to make pure water with a water distiller. We put up rain catchment barrels around. I have filtration devices, whole house filters. You can get Berkeys, things you can keep in your car, a couple extras. The backpacking filters that I love are Life Straw. I think those are important to keep in your car, in your house. Anytime you go on a camping trip, Life Straw. And one of my favorite, it's so awesome, is REI's Platypus. It's their Platypus. I think it's $120 or something. But anyway, I take everything that I need to do when I'm backpacking and just sort of expand upon that, for the house, the car, and all of that. Also have purification tablets. And also you should have ways to boil water if the power's down. Could you make a fire if you needed to? So I'm always thinking, if this goes down, the thing I was always taught is 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is for me. So you need to have backup systems where if the thing you thought you were going to count on goes down, well, you have your second backup. Okay. So if you have 2 ways of staying warm, providing light, eating whatever, then you basically have likely 1 you can count on. 3 is ideal. So for me, I have, going into power, I have backup generators, but that relies on gas. So I store some gas, but you can only store so much of that. So I'm all about getting firewood backed up. I have propane stoves. So I can have electric heat and light. I can have propane heat and light. I can have not natural gas, but and then just regular, fires. Solar panels. I have a solar generator that ostensibly can handle up to 1,500 watts, which is pretty good. And I have multiple little ones that will keep my devices charged. Your cell phone, especially in the car, you need to have this ways to charge your phone, and more than 1 charge, because you never know what's going to happen. Firewood, axes, saws, matches, lighters, ways to start fires. If you have barbecue already, get just some backup propane. I love the little Mr. Heater Buddy series. Those are pretty cool that they can go onto a 1-gallon propane to really take the edge off if you're in winter and the power goes down. I love my little jet boil stoves. That's what we take on the backpacking trips. And I keep one in my car too. Like, it's a tiny little thing that just screws onto the jet boil, and you can boil water in like a minute, 2 cups at a time. Super amazing. I also have some EMF protection technologies that I kind of put in place too. I don't know, it's kind of random. I just thought of putting it in there. Anyway, quickly for lights, extra light, I get like from the Sportsman's or the REI or something like that. I get a whole bunch of solar camping lanterns because they're so quick and easy to keep going. Don't have one right here. I can show you. The little headlamps, those are great to have because then you're hands-free. Flashlights. Always in your car, make sure you have a way to jumpstart your car and fill up your tires, and a basic tool set. Also, if you have batteries like big deep cycle batteries or a lithium ion, you need to have, how do you get it into AC? You need to have inverters and all the little cables and wires that go with it. I like lots of extra blankets. Have those little emergency blankets that you can buy for like $6. They seem like just tinfoil or something. And in fact, I had, of course, when I went backpacking, this was a week ago, I was gone for a week. It was glorious. And I was so happy that I was healthy enough to do it. My knee had been bothering me, so I wasn't sure, but it was really wonderful. But anyway, my daughter, she was with me for the first half of it. And the last half I was solo, which was also really fun. But she didn't bring her rain fly, and we had rain on and off for the first 3 days that she was out with me. So I took the emergency blanket and we used it for a tent fly for her. And also, if it gets really cold, and we've used them before where, whoops, we got stuck by the side of the road. It's 1 a.m, it's snowing, and it was going to be 2 hours before anyone could get to us. So we pull out all of our backup blankets. They have those little bivy sacks that are really cool. It's kind of like an emergency blanket that is in the form of a sleeping bag. So those can really be helpful. Extra clothes, especially extra shoes in your car. So if you're in your high heels or your flip-flops and your car breaks down and if you have to walk a few miles, you always want to have good pair of socks and a good pair of shoes that you could put on, and rain gear and basic tools. And never ever let your gas tank get below 50%. So when I get down to 50%, I act like that's my gas is empty, on empty. What else? I think I ran through these. Extra rags, lanterns, anything. Just pretend like, what if I needed to backpack for a month? The things that you would use there. I love, for communication, I love the Garmin satellite devices. I put a link in there on my website. It's a $50 per month subscription, but in our family, 3 of us have these devices that are based on satellite, and we can text each other. In fact, when we were out and outback, that's how we could, if there was anything significant that needed to be communicated and people knew where we were at all times. It's a great way to have backup texting. And if there is an emergency, guess what? Even satellite communication bands will be just bogged down. So but anyway, our family has, between the 3 of us that have them, we've used them many, many times, come in very, very handy. One time when the fires were going on in California and Oregon, I literally was able to look on the internet from my position in Nevada and tell them how to navigate and get out. They're trying to get home. And it was really tough with the roads being closed and everything. So super important to have backup. I have invested in, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah. Here's my amateur radio. And at first I just thought, hey, it's good enough. It's good enough if I just learn this. If you just get your technician license, it's not that hard to have UHF and VHF, 2 meter and 70 centimeter. It's not a bad idea to have backup like this. I went ahead and got my general license so I could be on high frequency. And then I got involved with the local Division of Emergency Management. With my nursing background, just kind of made sense. But for me, since I actually just last year let my nursing license go for the first time. I just kept it up all these years. All I had to do was 30 CEUs. But then I just realized that there's no way that I could ever in good conscience really participate in the Western medical system anymore. So what I did is went and got myself certified in as a wilderness first responders. All that means is wilderness is any time where advanced life support or care is more than an hour away. So in a car accident, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, that's wilderness. If there's an earthquake or a tornado or something big in your area, those ambulance and police, they're not going to be there for a really long time. That's wilderness. So it's nice to get some training in first aid, CPR. And for me, I like having a few extra skills of how do I stabilize someone without all the bells and whistles that you have in the ER where I used to work. So actually, and you know what? I've actually become pretty good on Morse code. CW as they call it, and it's sort of like the old version of texting is instead of being on the radio with your voice, you can use the code. Okay, it's a little sort of geeky thing that reminds me of how geeky I got with my financial calculator. Okay, propane generator. You know what? Propane generator is a great idea. Yeah, platypus, Jason. I know that. And guess what? And then I buy, I also just keep, they're not cheap and everything's a lot more expensive now, but I also keep backup platypus filters, like maybe 6 backup filters. And a way to keep them really good is to make sure that you reverse filter them and blow them out so that your filter doesn't clog up. So very cool. Is there... I think anyway, everyone can go to that. I just think it's super important that because none of your investments are going to matter if don't have your basic health and you don't have the things that you need, shelter, warmth, food, water, medical care. I think a nebulizer, especially when we had all the respiratory issues going around, what I had is buy your own home desktop nebulizer. So you can do your own respiratory treatments on yourself. And then if you have food grade hydrogen peroxide, maybe some colloidal silver, there's lots of things that you can research about it. That's how, if you feel like something's coming on, we have a whole bunch of stuff we do that's alternative, not medical mainstream stuff, but you can take a little bit of food grade hydrogen peroxide diluted, and it's amazing. So someone who can feel like they've got something coming on in their chest, in their throat, or whatever, in their sinuses, we can do respiratory treatments very easily at home. Okay. How do you manage the perishables? Do you rotate into your monthly supply? Clarissa, that's a great question. So what I do is she's asking, of course you guys can see because you can read it the same as me, but yes. So things that I know that I use all the time. I make my own hummus now that I love, and I never want to run out of lemon juice. So for instance, I order maybe 4 lemon juice bottles. I like Thrive Market a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, thrivemarket.com. But anyway, I order a lot of food from them as main groceries. And so I order 4 a month and they go in the back. And then I just keep using the front ones. Now, a lot of the dehydrated food and freeze-dried food, the My Patriot Supply and in the Thrive Life, they have like a 25-year shelf life. So I don't really worry about those very much, but it's the other things that, yeah, you do you buy extra, just buy extra. So you always have a month or more to go. And when you buy new, just put it at the back and keep them rotated. Yeah, it's a bummer when things get too old. You do have to keep on top of that. But usually just keep in mind that things are often good, food and medicines and things like that are often good far past their expiration date. It's just sort of a CYA that they have to put an expiration date of a certain thing. So even old prescription medicines, they might be maybe 50% effective, but they're still probably going to have some benefit. And for me, things that I want them to slow down and not age so quickly or go bad so quickly is backup medicines, supplements, seeds, my nuts that I my light sounds funny. Almonds I love, walnuts, almonds and walnuts, and that's the main stash of those things. Those can even be in the freezer, so then I can pull them out, and if I need to, I can soak these almonds overnight. I love soaked almonds and have just phenomenal protein. So anyway, that's enough. Does anyone else want to comment or ask any more questions about just basic prep? Did that make sense, Clarissa? Okay. All right. So then the next thing that I just, let's get, I think crypto is the next. Well, now, Sharon, Sharon, you said that you've mostly been on the crypto thing. So, and that's what you're really focusing on. For me, you guys, if you've hung around my legacy food supply, thank you. Thank you for that. I will make a note of some things. Yeah, it's nice to have high quality food instead of just stuff, that'll keep you alive, but being kept alive is good. Legacy food supply. All right, crypto. Is there anybody here that's really been in it a long time? Let's say at least 2017 or longer. Is anyone here on the call been in crypto for longer than 6 years? That's really when I got in, 2017. Is there anyone that has zero crypto whatsoever? Like how many? I just want to know how many people, like where we're at in the, vacuum seal. One of those food saver vacuum seals. I have one of those little gizmos. They're great. I should write that down too. The food saver vacuum seals. They're great. Okay. Well, so crypto is no crypto mining and hodl. Mark, you're actually mining. What are you mining? Bitcoin starting 3 years ago. Great. You probably got in at higher prices than you wished. But okay. You're mining Bitcoin. Okay. Well, so I'm not the most, I can't 1 year and still learning. So basically, just forever, since I've been doing speaking and presentations, I've always been teaching people about money, about our fractional reserve banking, and how it's really backed by nothing except our ability, to run ops around the world and keep people from getting away from our nice little petrodollar. Well, we see that nations around the world are tired of our petrodollar, and they're making more and more alliances to not have to deal in our dollar. I wonder if that's part of the reason for wars and wars a lot. But anyway, so the fact is, when you take a loan out of the bank, they actually don't have the money to lend you. If they have $100,000 in deposits, they can lend out 900,000. So they lend you pretend fluff. And if you don't pay it back, they take back your very real house. Okay. So our currency isn't backed by anything. It's not an asset, not gold, not anything. So, and it's buying power. It's not that things are more expensive, so to speak. It's that our dollar keeps buying less and less and less. So that's one of the big reasons for crypto is in Bitcoin. It handles inflation actually, because it was the big daddy that came out with whoever Satoshi is back in 2009, I want to say. There's only going to be, it's based on math. There's no trust needed. It's a decentralized ledger. Like all right now, we have our banking system in one central bank, one Wall Street. There's a centralized ledger. So if you disagree with Bank of America over how much money you should have in your account, well, they're in charge of the ledger, keeping track of what's what. And when we do owner financing and notes, we're kind of, getting away from the bank, because I never do any business with the bank, except for if I'm leveraging somebody else's financing. That happens sometimes. But I never get a bank loan. It's been years and years and years, and I don't need it. It's nice to have good credit and to be able to get it, and it does have a place, but I live my life not going there. So it's all about the mom and pop solution. So then that's a way for us to decentralize and not have all our money that's controlled by Wall Street and those guys and the central bankers. But this is just a step more to say, here's a currency. It is a currency. It is a store of value. I relate to Bitcoin as basically digital gold. It's a store of value. Yes, there's whole countries like El Salvador that have legalized Bitcoin as legal tender, and it's done very well for their community. But there's only going to be 21 million coins ever, no more. There's never going to be more than 21 million. So it's not like our digital dollars that can be inflated away. They can, by the money supply, our dollars buy less and less and less, which seems like, oh, prices are going up and up and up. It's just that our dollar is worth less and less and less. And so they're working on a central bank digital currency, CBDC, central bank digital currency, that's like, oh, we can, my guess is they're going to create a big event or a series of smaller events that eventually have people, with the destruction of the economy. I know there's a lot of conflicting things, but the goal is to make it so more and more people are dependent on the government. Where's my UBI? They've got a whole generation of kids thinking that communism and socialism is the way to go. And because they're just not able to have the opportunities. But why we're here on this kind of call is, how do we position ourselves? And so there many countries, I think like 80 countries right now, at least. Now I think China already rolled theirs out like a year or two ago. I can't remember. But they're going to come out with it. So then, okay, we break the system. Now, voila, we have the fix. Here's your nice CBD, your digital currency. You just download our Fed Now app or whatever, and you can, all of a sudden, Web3, you can send money on the internet. It's all about that. And so now that's great. They're going to give you money. They're going to help you out, and it'll be so great and so convenient and all of that. And also it's going to be, you won't have any privacy. They'll be able to program it. And if they don't like what you say, potentially, they could cut you off from your funds. There's all sorts of people in the last few years who have had their bankability be attacked, and they can't get, a company to give them a bank loan. PayPal cuts them off. Venmo cuts them off. So how do we, now, maybe it won't get all that drastic, but I want to be ready. Like I said in the beginning, I want to be ready for anything that could possibly happen. So Of course I keep money in the bank. I have to keep money in the bank to do business, right? But I don't want to have all of my money in the bank. And so it's actually pretty hard for me to leave money in a regular bank. And I try to diversify it as quickly as possible without causing too much stress for myself. Sometimes I do stress myself out. It's like, I left myself a little lean this month in the bank account, but not that I couldn't get it back in there. But anyway, so number one, I don't want to be beholden that when they switch us to a CBDC, I want them not to be able to turn me off and on or see every transaction that I do. No privacy. So I'm just not going to want to cooperate and go down that road any more than I have to. So basically, I see Bitcoin is like gold, a store of value, although you can just transact. There's apps that can easily make it easy to just send value to other people. So in El Salvador, they accept it as legal tender. And another thing besides the centralized ledger and these decentralized, let me talk about that a little bit. It's a decentralized ledger, one mom and pop to the other, peer-to-peer, because for validation of these mathematical equations and when you buy, sell, send and receive, you've got nodes, like it looks like Mark probably has a node, several different sets of computers that validate it. And you need several computers to validate any one transaction. And so there's no centralized person. So it's really, really tough to hack. It's hard to change and manipulate any past transaction because you'd have to somehow go back in time and change all these 1,000 different nodes or computers who validated a certain transaction or solved whatever mathematical problem it is. So it's a very trustless system. And, why does the dollar have value? Because we believe in it. Well, why does Bitcoin have value? Well, because people believe in it. So it has a community. So I would say Bitcoin is the big daddy, which if you're only going to do one thing, I would, if you can have a goal. Now, luckily, I'll tell you a happy story and a bad story. Okay. I got involved in buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's just stick to those two things. Back in 2017, well, Bitcoin was $2,400, and now it's kind of low, pulled back. It could drop further, but probably not much further. Now it's $24,000. So I 10 times my money or more when it was up to. I sold a little bit when it was up to 65,000. The last run up we had in 2021, early 2021. So I sold for 65,000. So anyway, Bitcoin actually from its inception has outperformed any other asset class. But you have to be able to stomach the volatility. So the happy story is it's 20,000 something and probably headed higher. Maybe, I don't know, not crazy higher. I don't know, 100,000, who knows? But I could have gotten in at $30 a Bitcoin way back in the day. One of my daughters had a cute little boyfriend. He was 14 and he was talking to me about, Miss Dawn, I know you do some investing. You should look at this Bitcoin thing. And I'm like, I just had no bandwidth for it, right? $30 Bitcoin. Okay, I could have, someone tried to tell me to invest in Bitcoin when it was $30. So anyway, you have to have a certain mentality, an iron stomach. And I wouldn't say that most people should put more than maybe 5 to 10% of your overall net worth, but have some exposure. Now, the reason that things like gold and silver are down, we know that they suppress prices. And why would they? Okay, well, gold's down. It was pushing 2,000 and now it's back down to 1,900. And so it's not really that great of an investment. Well, if you were the market makers and able to control prices of things, would you want prices of things that you want to buy to be high or low? So basically they're telling you gold and silver is not a good investment. They keep the prices suppressed. And in the back shadows, governments, sovereign nations and central banks all over the world have been buying up gold hand over fist the last 12 to 18 months. So I think it's more like a don't listen to what we say, do what we do. So if they're the market maker types and they're buying gold hand over fist, I think it's maybe not a bad idea to have that. Same with Bitcoin. They have tried so much FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and the price has been volatile. But now it's in their best interest to keep prices low before they want to pile their millions, billions, and billions into it. So now we have, BlackRock and Vanguard and Fidelity. All these people are applying for Bitcoin ETFs and probably soon Ethereum ETFs. And Grayscale tried to do it before, but they were hamstrung by the SEC. But so anyway, before these big moves come, I think recently there was some wallet that overnight became the second largest holder in Bitcoins. I don't know, like it seems like a fund, a bank, a sovereign nation that all of a sudden just quietly jumped in while the price has been down a little bit again. So anyway, if you can get one whole Bitcoin, this may be in this mid-20s. I mean, this is not financial advice. I'm just here yakking. But I think it's the last time where it will be accessible for a normal person to own one whole Bitcoin if you don't already. But it's going to be really volatile. So you got to be able to stomach it and to do your risk management. But the big projects I'm going to put out there that would be pretty standard if you're going to play it as safe as possible for your own wallets in your own custody, and for me in iTrust. I think I gave you guys that link already to iTrust, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. I think Cardano is wonderful. I mean, I could put some of these in here. BTC. You guys tell me what you think are the super, like for the average person just getting in a little bit and they want as much stability as possible. I mean, I would say Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, maybe some Cardano for maybe 80% of what you're putting in. And if you have a little more stomach for there's things that you can position in, take a tiny bit that could go a really long ways. Projects like data. These have real world use cases. VeChain. I'll probably think of a bunch of others. XLM. NFTs, you know what? Some people did really great, didn't they? I am not really able to comment much intelligently on NFTs, but I know it's not going anywhere. In fact, everything's going to get tokenized like an NFT. Stocks are going to be tokenized. Real estate's going to be tokenized. Notes probably going to be tokenized. Everything. You'll be able to buy, fractionalized interest of almost anything here soon. XLM. What else? Maybe Matic. If you wanted to get a small position in some of the metaverse sort of things, you could do your own research. The point with this is I'm not going to be able here and tell you like any, crypto guru what you should do, but how to do it, to start you in doing your own research and taking at least a small position. I've traded it, don't own any. So the first thing you need to do is to be able to get fiat or bank dollars into an exchange. And the way that you need to do that is either through Coinbase is a good, easy place. They're huge. Coinbase, Uphold, Binance, you can't get fiat. You can't onboard fiat anymore because of the stuff the SEC is doing. But BNB, oh yeah, BNB, it wouldn't be bad to have a little BNB. I think long term they'll do well. They're I think in the world the largest Binance, but Binance.us is not letting you onboard directly fiat into crypto. But anyway, what about NFTs? Thank you, Don. So get on there. And then once you buy, and it's not that hard to do, then what you need to do is this is what a ledger looks like. There's other ones, there's Trezors. Can you even see that? Ledger. So it's a little device like this where, you have comes on, you put in your passcode and all sorts of things. This is where you store your private keys. If you don't have, it's like having a note without having the original. If you're not holding your own original note, if you don't hold your own private keys, then you don't own your crypto. They can disappear. So, but right now it's not super easy for people to do it. And you have to keep track of your seed phrases, your private keys. And so it, just like when you do a self-directed IRA and you said, I'm not going to trust Wall Street to do it for me, my financial advisor, I'm going to take self-custody and I'm going to make my own investments, and I'm going to actually be in charge of my own investments. It's super important. So you get on the exchanges, you buy the crypto, whatever it turns out to be right. And if you guys do want to just talk with me one-on-one, you can set that up with me on the page. I don't know, one of these pages I have where you can create a link. It's not my regular consulting thing. It would just be only about something like crypto or trying to get a precious metals Roth IRA set up or something like that. Here's a link. I think there's a link below. I don't need to do that. Anyway, so there's a way for much cheaper than my normal consulting for owner financing and notes. If you just want to look, hold my hand, walk me through it. They have come out with, darn it, I don't see where I put it, but they have come out with something called Engrave. You can go look it up. I just bought it, but I haven't set it up yet, but it's like one of these cold hard wallets, but it's a lot more user friendly. You can set up someone for estate planning. You can set them up with fingerprint access to have your private keys. But the reason, so there's all those sort of nuts and bolts to do. So buy it, self-custody it. There's also hot wallets like MetaMask and Kepler and some of these others, Trust Wallet. I basically use MetaMask. It's air gap too. Mark, are you talking about the Engrave? Yeah, it's very secure and it's much more user friendly for the average person. And I even want to say is there a way to get access to your private keys your seed phrase, or is that something Binance was working on? They're going to come out with more ways that it's easy for the average person to engage with crypto. But by the time it's mass adoption, you lose the chance to get in at these prices. I think it'll probably be kind of bloody and volatile over the next few months. I think there could be black swan events that could, give us really great. If things drop a lot more from here, I'm not going to be selling. I'm going to be adding to my position. And so I've held back some capital, waiting for, I put some more money in iTrust. I can do, at my age, I can put $7,000 a year in my iTrust account. I'm waiting for prices to go down. and I'm going to dollar cost average in when prices go down. So if nothing does happen sort of big in the next little while, it'll probably be a slow burn anyway. But I think by the time we hit this time next year and beyond, we'll really be in price discovery to the upside, for a lot of these crypto and token projects. So anyway, you just need to get involved in it. And so I guess that's just what I'm saying. I can only share what I've done. Since I was not on the air for a long time, a lot of what I've done is I invested a lot of time and money getting involved, learning everything I could about crypto to the point where I could take some positions and manage my own assets. And I think it's a super important thing to do. Any other questions, comments? We're going to wrap it up here, I guess. I guess that's pretty much it. So, but basically, why for crypto? It's decentralized. It's a decentralized ledger. It's peer-to-peer. It's quick. All these people that need to send money, Western Union, MoneyGram, to other countries, now they don't have to pay all the fees. They can just instantly send money to people in other countries. That's huge. There's 40% of the world that's not bankable. There's no bank that will provide banking services for them. But these crypto projects like Bitcoin and XRP and XLM, these are going to make the whole world bankable, where they might not have a bank, they might not ever have a banking account, they might not have a checking account or ever be able to write a check or get a loan, but they can do this. And in the future, you can become your own bank by being, carrying paper on your own property, right? You go from landlord to lender, you become the bank. Well, in a very literal sense, in a few short years, I expect that we'll become the bank with our own funds, because you can put your crypto up on sites like Aave and DAO. I forget the other one. And you can loan it out, or you can borrow from yourself. Okay, so basically, no wonder that they're slow rolling this and trying to get ahead of it, to keep the prices down, try to get their own CBDC out, because really it is a potential replacement in many ways for the current financial system. And I just think it's important to be on that train. So anyway, you have the links if you want to engage more on this. I hope this was a little bit helpful, and thank you for showing up, and I appreciate all of you. There was a quick little question from Dave. How do you nebulize oxygen peroxide? Yeah, there's, Dave, if you want to email me, dawn@notequeen.com, I'll send you what I have for water purification, and also how you nebulize it. But yes, you make no more than it's like a 0.1 to 0.3% solution, and with enough normal saline on top of that to get down to the 0.1 to 0.3 strength. And then you have five milliliters in the nebulizer, and you're good. Anyway, all right, take care, everyone. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you around the queendom. Take care. Bye-bye.